first Township Talks of 2024. And I'm hoping that we'll give you some insightful information today in order for you guys to just go in, to spear into 2024. And by the end of December, our last Township Talks of 2024, we will be speaking about all the properties and all the property developments that we've built through this specific engagement. I hope you guys watched the CEO Lusanda Nechitenze's offering on our YouTube. She gave us some tips and goals that we should look at into when we start our property journey. And today I will really be emphasizing on those. And I want us to have more of an engagement talk on exactly what we mean by these 5 tips and how you should go about them. Should you have any questions about them, please don't hesitate to just pop a question in the what's this comment box below, and we will try to answer you as comprehensively as possible. This is our time to engage and to really leave more informed. If I leave you less informed than you were when you came in, then I have done you guys a disservice. I'm just going to start with some of the talks that we've had. We had 5 tips. Lusana gave us 5 tips on what a property entrepreneur looking to do an investment, a property investment this year should start looking at. And one of the tips was to really stay hands-on, right? I think this is more of when you have the property in mind, in hand, and you are now a property professional, to stay hands-on as a property manager, right? We found that during COVID, in fact, our clients who actually performed the best were the ones who were hands-on, who understood what was happening with their tenants, who had relationships with their tenants in order, and who could provide concession to their tenants the way that they needed to, because they understood their tenants and they had a proper relationship with them, right? So I think tip number 1 is to really stay hands-on, to be a hands-on property entrepreneur, and to not lose sight of your business, right? We always say that people think that property is a passive investment, and it's really not. It's one that needs you to be fully engaged. You need to understand what is happening in the market, what are people offering within the market. If people are providing Wi-Fi, for instance, you can't be building a property portfolio and you're not providing those specific nuances. You need to understand what are the rental trends, what are the property trends within the market that you're staying in, right? And the second tip is to build your equity. I would have actually made this your first tip, to build your equity. I know that it seems a bit difficult when we say that what is your equity contribution, what is your skin in the game as you start your property portfolio, right? But it's so important to build as much equity as you have, because remember, your equity is you saying that this is my stake in this project and this is my unencumbered stake in this project. Should everything go, or should anything not go well, I already have some skin in the game. I have invested about 200,000 within the specific project, and obviously your value will increase substantially according to the value that you build in your property portfolio. But it also gives you cash flow liquidity when you are now in a place where you start receiving rentals and you start paying back the umastandi debt. The more equity you put on, the less umastandi debt you have to pay back, and that means the more back that you get in your pocket for the 15 years, right? That sounds like a good one. And remember that you want to be, there is a time value of money. So the more money you put in now, the greater equity you build for yourself in the future. Meaning that perhaps it will take, instead of taking 5 years for you to be able to do an equity release with umastandi, you will probably take, let's say, 2 years, because you've put in substantial equity within. So I really think that the most important thing is to say, I want to be a property entrepreneur, right? And in me becoming a property entrepreneur, I want to put this money aside over maybe the next 12 months in order to make sure that I have sufficient equity in order to put in for this property investment. Umastandi, the kind of property investments that you look at are really dependent on the equity that you are able to contribute. If you're able to put in 200,000, perhaps then you can look at a property or a property that has a total development cost of about 1 million. But now you can't have 200,000 and say you want a 10 million property, right? So really your equity speaks for you in terms of the kind of projects that you can go into, the kind, how big your project would be. And you want to start as slow as possible in terms of building your property portfolio. Keep that first 200,000, 300,000, or whichever way that you want to do your property, and then make sure that it builds for you, right? It creates more money for you. It frees up more money for you. And remember that for Umastandi, if you already own a property, we look at your property ownership as part of your equity contribution, especially if you own an unencumbered property that you want to, and this needs to be the subject property that you are approaching Umastandi for finance in, or a property that is currently receiving rental income within Umastandi's areas of finance, right? And number three is to grow your network, right? I cannot say how important it is to invest in a network, especially of property professionals, right? Once you start putting yourself in spaces where there's property professionals, people who've made mistakes within construction, people who understand the nuances of the property investment journey, you can now probably mitigate some of the mistakes that you are gonna get, right? If you have a network of people, for instance, who sell material, you can get material at cheaper rates. You can now make more informed decisions in how you decide to do your property investments and how you go about this journey, all right? So build your network. You can do this by attending some property investment events, some business people events, some there's SAPOAs, there's the CYBIBs, there's a number of associations, there's SAPINs, number of associations for property investors specifically, and you can make sure that you have your foot there, see what people are doing, see how they're doing it, see how they make their mistakes and make it your own. It's always great to have a mentor first who's going to help you to actually understand specific nuances to look for that great deal. Because I know we all find the first deal and be like, I know, this is what I want, right? But then once you have someone who's kind of made those things, they can tell you that, no, you're buying well for this price at this price in this area. No, you're not. Perhaps look at something else. So it's really important to start building that network, building a network of professionals, building a network of people who've gone through this. And just to emphasize another thing that Umastandi really provides you with, Umastandi provides you with a mentor for 6 months after registration of your loan, who will help you also understand and navigate some of the nuances of your property investment journey. But prior to even getting that mentor, we would really advise to really engage yourself with property entrepreneurs and property investors and get yourself a mentor as you start the journey. And number 4, do your market research. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of doing your market research, right? You need to understand what are the rentals in this area. As I said before, are people providing Wi-Fi? You come in Soweto, you provide a bachelor unit, who have no Wi-Fi, and everyone else who's building a bachelor unit is providing Wi-Fi. That's already going to put you at the back end of what the market is providing, right? You need to understand what are people willing to pay at least a bit more for, or what's going to really increase your tenure, what's going to decrease your vacancies because people want to stay in a place like that. For instance, building self-contained units instead of building rooms. You need to understand what your market looks at and what your market really needs in order to understand what to build for them. Do your market research. I cannot emphasize that enough. I cannot emphasize the importance of doing your market research. And number 5 is educate yourself. Mastandi provides you, and TAF, we provide you with TPPE. For non-clients, you unfortunately have to go into TPPE on a fee of about, I think the last I checked was around 15,000, but you can get more information from our team on exactly how much it costs now. This is a tailor-made product that we do with UCT, right, in order to try to get you to become a property entrepreneur. Outside of that, should you not have 15,000, there are a number of publications that property entrepreneurs or property investment, property developers really do. Sometimes it's about reading the news, putting yourself in the right spaces, learning as much as you can in order to make sure that you've enabled yourself to become the best property entrepreneur that you can. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are the 5 tips that we have to become a property entrepreneur. I will just go through them again. It is stay hands-on, build your equity, educate yourself, do your market research, and build your networks. I'm going to go into some of the questions that you guys have posed for us, and I'm hoping to answer them comprehensively. This is really meant to be an engagement and question and answer session. And I would like to, obviously, if we could have those questions and answers based on how do we do this best, something that you really want me to expand on more in the goals and tips that we've given you guys. We've gotten some questions from Popo, who said, are you affiliated with the Department of Housing? No, Mastandi is a private company. We are a PTY, a private company. We are not affiliated with any government, except obviously everyone is a stakeholder, but we are not affiliated with the Department of Housing. Someone said, I want to buy 26 units on a stand and I have not financed yet. Will you help me find tenants? Remember, tenants, as we said, property management, how important property management is. You will find your tenants yourself, or you can engage with a property manager who understands the market and will help you, find the tenanting that you need. Remember, Umastandi is a financier. Yes, we provide a lot of added benefits to try and show your success, but we are financiers. Mastandi is not an agent. The project is yours. It's not a professional either. The project is yours. You find your professional team, you find your construction team, you find your property manager, you tenant your project, because you are the property developer and the property entrepreneur. Umastandi gives you funds in order to build your property portfolio. I hope that helps. And then someone said, on a loan of 1.5 million, how much will you take as Umastandi? It's difficult to say. We charge, we amortize our loan for 15 years. We charge an equivalent of prime plus 4.5, which we are JIBAR rate linked. And yeah, it will really depend on your specific loan, how your equity comes in. Do you have a grace period? And those specific nuances, I can't necessarily give you a number on that unless we work on a feasibility on that specific loan. Someone said, where do I find success stories? Our success stories are all over our YouTube, our websites. You can go look through there and you'll find all our success stories. Maybe not all, but some of. Question from Ubembe. I have a title deed. What if I have a power of attorney document on this house? Do you own the property? We will need to be able to register a bond over the property. So anything, if you have enough in order for us to be able to register our security over that property, then we are good with that. If anything hinders with us being able, our ability to register a bond over that property, then that might be a problem. But speak to us. We'll engage on your specific project and see what the nuances of that are. We can speak to, I know you guys came in last time when Neo was here, our conveyancing our specialist, who can probably help you on the intricacies on what we would need on that specific loan. I'm just going through some of your questions. Okay, there's some question. Noma Hlubi is back. I remember Noma Hlubi. I definitely remember Noma Hlubi. Welcome back, Noma Hlubi. He said, I own a house in the Val, where Umastandi does not finance currently. I am interested in getting Umastandi fund to fund me in Randfontein. I want to buy a land and build 8 units. If it is feasible for me to use my house in the, is it feasible for me to use my house in the Val for equity? No, unfortunately, as I said before, we will only use the equity of a house that is being used as a rental unit. So one that is also a commercial property that's providing rentals within the market. And it's within our areas of finance. We can only release equity on that, but we don't take your private collateral, as in your private home that you stay in, as collateral, unfortunately. Perhaps if that is unbonded, it would be worthy to then go to your bank and see if you can release. They can give you a bigger home loan or something and release some equity in that way, but it cannot be through Umastandi, unfortunately. How far can I go with market research? How do you know if the research is enough? Look, as long as you're able as long as you'll never have enough information just for you, but as long as you're able to gauge how much rentals you need for that market, what the market configuration is willing to take. So will you build bachelors in the specific market, or does this market want 2 bedrooms because there's a lot of families, etc.? As long as you understand those kind of things and you understand what the construction cost would be in that specific market, yes, the Umastandi consultant who you work with will guide you on certain things that move towards the market, but you need to have enough to make an informed decision for yourself on what is happening in the market and how you can really build your property portfolio. Oh, thank you, Bemba, for sharing some information on Room King, which helps you find tenants. Um, my advice in finding tenants would be obviously work with property professionals like Room King, who can help you. There's a lot of companies within the market who understand the nuances of the market, who can help you to tenant your property, especially within the township areas. There's a lot of companies that are working to do that. I think, in fact, it's seamless in the township market. By the time you finish building, tenants are already knocking at your door and asking when you'll start letting and how much it's going to be, because they want their newest product, right? But I'm so glad that you spoke about Room King. Someone said, if you do not have a 20%, is it the end of the road? Well, it depends. You do need to have some skin on the game. So if you don't have anything at all and you don't have any equity contribution that you've saved up, perhaps it's a halt for now, and you can start this building your equity in order for you to be able to get to that 20%. But we do have Indutugo for previously disadvantaged individuals who have, let's say, 15%, but don't have the full 20% of the equity and need some more finance, we can help you. It helps you with your equity contribution. It's at concessionary rates. It's more development mezzanine equity finance in order to help property entrepreneurs who have the skills, who have saved the money, but don't necessarily have the full 20%. But I would say that it is very important for you to really keep as much equity as you can. Unfortunately, you do have to have some sort of skin in the game. How does Umastandi determine the rate? Well, it's risk adjusted. We price according to risk of that specific property or of that specific area, that specific entrepreneur, and that specific project. I'm just trying to see. If I buy land for 500K, will that land work as my equity? Definitely, definitely. If you buy it and it's unencumbered, so it's not bonded, you don't buy it with an FNB or SA home loans, then we'll look at that as your equity contribution. The only thing is that if you do have a loan, we will have to settle that third-party bond and register an Umastandi loan, so which is basically effectively seem like you haven't necessarily bought it yourself, because obviously whatever you have, the loan balance will probably be loan balance plus interest, and it's going to put you in the same place as you buying and developing. But definitely, if you buy property cash, we will look at your ownership of that property and the money that you've put in that property as your equity contribution. Just a reminder, should you buy a property outside of Umastandi, Umastandi provides funding for juristic entities. Juristic entities means companies like PTYs, LTDs, or any form of juristic entity. So you will need to, if you're signing an OTP and you're buying, perhaps don't buy it in your name so that you don't have to go through the process of first, when you come to Umastandi, we have to embed us changing that property from your name to a juristic entity. Buy it, open a new company that hasn't traded, and buy it, put the buyer as the company's registration, obviously represented by you, and you can be 100% shareholder of that company in order for you to kind of already be a step ahead. Okay. What is the maximum number of properties Umastandi will fund for one client? So we have a 15% of our loan book single client exposure, but our loan book obviously increases, keeps on increasing. I would say for a first-time property entrepreneur, probably won't want to go more than 5 million overall. So your portfolio can be cumulatively 5 million, or you can have one project that's 5 million, probably 5 to 8 million. But I don't like keeping limits, guys. Let's first start. Let's first start and not look at what our limits are. Come with a good project. Come with your equity contribution already there. Come with something that's really going to bring pride in township areas around South Africa again. And we will look at your project. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'm really appreciative of you guys coming in here. I really hope that we've engaged, you've had the kind of responses that you've wanted, and we are always open should you need us. We are on, you can catch us on our social media, you can catch us on our websites, and you can catch us on, you can call directly or email us at www.umastandi.com.co.za or info@umastandi.co.za, right? Or someone said, if I'm granted a loan of 16% and I can't make profit after doing my feasibility, can I negotiate a lower rate? So we already look at profitability for a project to work for us. We look at what the potential profitability of that project is. So we stress test it. We look at most what you would be able to get, at least what, and we give it in the most conservative way. and you'll probably achieve more than what we've put into the feasibility. We make sure that we sign you up for success. We make sure that you will be profitable. Otherwise, we would not fund a project if we could see that it's not going to be profitable. We can always we can negotiate an interest rate given your track record, your ability to your payment record. If you have you've de-risked the project substantially, then we can look at revised interest rates. But overall, we definitely look at the profitability and your ability to pay beforehand. I'm just gonna recap some of the tips that we've had, some of the tips that we emphasized on as I close. I'm so grateful for you guys coming here, and I really hope that you'll enjoy even the next Township Talks. So we said that the tips for property entrepreneurs are really to stay hands-on, understand your market, understand your clientele, understand your project, to build equity, and I think we've emphasized a lot on equity today, to grow your property network, to do your market research, and to educate yourself. There are way more tips that we could get. We are always willing to engage on your specific individual project and to look at the things, the nuances of your project to see whether it would work, whether it would not. Perhaps you'll say, maybe wait a while for this one, or work on this, try to do research on this one. Omastandi consultants are always willing to engage with you and to help you really become the most profitable property entrepreneur that you can be. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a wonderful day further.